Okay, thanks for coming. Appreciate you guys coming. Gosh, this Saturday stung, and I think one of the reasons why it stings so much is that our guys never gave in, never gave up, all the way to the last seconds on the clock. And but that's how to live life. That's how to play football. You put everything you have into it, and when you do, it hurts more. There's no question about it. But thought there was definitely some positives that came out of the weekend to build on, and again, anytime you lose, you have more of an opportunity to things obviously get exposed, which helps you get better. But it also, it grabs your attention. After you win, you feel good about yourself, and you get some pats on the back, and sometimes it's harder to find and to really concentrate on the things that need to get you better. But after a stinging loss, it gets your attention. And I know our guys are hungry to improve, and we're going to. Defensively, coming off of the Florida week and whatnot, I thought it was a great performance by our defense, and giving up a big play is obviously one too many, and that's what our defense is going to be thinking about and talking about. But really felt as though they kept us in the game and gave us a chance to win. And it's twice now that our punt team has given up a big return, but I do want to say that our punt team has been fantastic, other than a big return, and a big return is one too many. But I think we pinned them inside the 5 or the 10-yard line 3 times. It just has been a huge weapon for us, and so there's positives and there's negatives to every spot on the field. And offensively, we moved the ball at times and just weren't able to consistently sustain drives that got us into the end zone. And we're hard at work to figure that out, and really believe in our guys and in our system, and know that it's going to happen. So this week, just massive respect for a program that, again, you can tell just really believes in themselves. They're confident, they're well coached, they're disciplined, they have an aura about them, and you respect that, because that's the kind of program that you want to build and that you want to have. And so we're definitely excited about the opportunity to continue to improve and to go up there and to play Eastern Michigan football.
Defensively, obviously a huge step forward from the Florida game. Where do you think you guys kind of pulled together and was able to kind of improve? I mean, pass rush was better, it seemed like every phase, but what did you guys see on the tape where the defensively kind of stepped up from that Florida game?
I think that the first area is just dealing with some of the adversity. Coach talked about the big play, the big run, the 55-yard run. We had 3 more big plays, or what we constitute big plays, that occurred, but we responded those other 3 times. And either made a play to save that from scoring, and then responded with subsequent defense afterwards. And I thought that those were some growing moments for us, dealing with the adversity. I think we thought that stopping the run was the most important piece, even though we were facing a talented quarterback. We had to put him in those situations where we could count on a great pass rush, or getting on an edge, and we did a decent job of that, especially in the second half, where we could count on getting a pass rush, and so those were some improvements. And then, kind of just touching back briefly on the adversity, there were 3 sudden change opportunities for us to rise up and prove that we're ready for that, and we answered the call on all 3 of those. And I think that's a sign of growth, development, maturity, and competitiveness, toughness. That sort of thing as well. So.
And then that goal line stand that you guys had, was that timeout, and the quarterback left, came back. How impressed were you that the defense kind of stayed focused and were able to kind of hold that out on that whole exchange right there, getting your points?
Yeah, that was a big play. The play before, when he almost got in, it was a great play by DeQuan Pace. He laid a pretty good hit on him and kept him out, and and then gave us the opportunity then to play defense on 4th down, as opposed to them kicking it. And we wanted another opportunity like that to prove that we can do it. We didn't necessarily fully execute in the third down or the fourth down play, but we got the result that we wanted. So, there's something to build upon and then something to learn from in those situations.
And the linebacking core seems to be really developing nicely. I know, nobody's a senior right now that's starting. Houston, Sapone, eBay, really all made plays. Kind of talk about how you see that kind of group developing as a group.
Yeah, it's a good group. It's we've moved some people around too. Zapone is playing both inside and outside in the game. Got about half reps in both situations. Hunter Matt balanced that out. And eBay is just each week consistently, giving a great effort, being a leader within the group, and making the plays that he makes the plays that he needs to make, and then he makes some plays beyond that. As well. So I like how that the group is coming together and understanding what we're trying to do defensively, and where their role is. It was a really important week to understand your fit in what you were doing and your role. And there was times where you weren't going to make a play by doing your job. You had to make the play that came to you, and I thought that we were fairly disciplined at doing that. So.
And then the pass rush seemed to be generating it. Any kind of difference? Where do you see that you're able to kind of do that versus the last 2 weeks where you kind of struggled at times? The second half, like you mentioned.
Yeah, OC Pat O'Connell is, the guy can play at any of the positions in the defensive line, so we can move him around. He made a sack after a big play that was a huge play for us, and then he makes a sack later on in the game that was another big play. The guy can do it from an inside pass rush position, outside pass rush position. Can really we can find matchups that we like, or just keep people guessing, to a certain extent. And then having Mike Brown, his second game back with us, certainly gives a great push in the middle. And he created some run problems as well. But his hustle and effort, he never came out of the game, never wanted out of the game, and that's something to be said about a 290-pound individual. So.
You mentioned O'Connor. He chased down that running back 4 yards down the field. What was that play? It broke down, but talk about this, him being able to kind of recover and be all the way down there on that sideline play. I don't know if O'Connor had that tackle. He saved probably a touchdown. Yeah,
it's a crazy good play. I mean, the he's unbelievable. We commented on it again as a staff that he passed 2 linebackers and a DB to make that play from the backside. So you don't want to say it, but it's freakish how good that was.
On the punt touchdown, did you see the play? Because it looked like he stepped out of bounds on the feed. It wasn't the best kind of camera work I was watching, but did you see it all? The play kind of developed, and did you think he stepped out of bounds on the touchdown?
We hoped he did. We hoped he did. And, we thought it was really, really close. I think we saw it on the Jumbotron there, maybe once. And it looked like it was really close. So.
And then the referee, they seem to be slowing it down a little bit with the ball on offense. Did you have, what was that, kind of before each play, they were kind of holding it almost in the second half sometimes? Did you get a sense they were slowing it down a little bit? You wanted to go a little faster on offense?
Well, I don't know that they were inconsistent in terms of if we were substituting, then they were not only, and they said that they were going to do this, is the first time I've ever heard it, but that they were going to not only, as they should, let the defense sub, but they said that they were going to not only let them sub, but to get matched up and aligned, which is something I've never heard of or been a part of before. Very, very. The other part, it was, I don't know if you could tell this or not, but it was raining pretty good. And so when we weren't going tempo, they were going to be changing the ball in and out. And so that had an effect as well, both ways. When they felt as though we weren't trying to go fast, they wanted to get a dry ball in.
Was that something that this officiating crew decided to do, the matchup? Would you expect that to be something going forward that you'd see, or that was just something different?
Again, I'd never heard of that before. Everybody, and as they should, if we substitute offensively, then the defense has an opportunity to substitute. Right. It was the comma, pause, and we're going to allow them to get lined up that I'd never heard of before.
And then review the tape offensively, the quarterback play, kind of talk about what you saw from Brogan and Rob.
Yeah, obviously we only put up 3 points, and so, that's disappointing, and there's a lot of reasons for that. But number one, when we talk about quarterbacks, we got to be more consistent, and we got to be better with some decisions at critical times. When we have a guy open, we got to be able to hit him, and that's their job. So there's some things that they did really well that I'm proud of. I thought it was a step forward on a few things, but in the end, we got to find a way to guide the team down the field and put up more than 3 points. So Brogan, he brings the savviness to the game. He steps on the field confident. And then Rob at the end, I thought, our longest drive, he gave us a little bit of a spark. The first drive he's in there, we went 15 plays. So, they each had their times. It's just got to be more consistent. And it's hard when you're not able to have the explosive plays to continue to put drives together, because at some point there's a negative play, or there's a hold or a penalty, that puts you in a bad position. And so, the guys around them too, it's just the continuity of who they're working with. From game to game, it's changed based on injuries and things like that. And so, if you're working with a new guy and you're just a little bit off, all of a sudden that timing that you've had and that you've worked on, doesn't exist to the same extent. So we just got to keep working and keep believing in those guys, and they want it. They want it bad, and they're good football players, and I'm looking forward to working with them again this week and taking them to the next step.
And still evaluating for this week. I know Brogan's listed right now at the top, but it's still kind of to be determined for quarterback.
Yeah. Just got to keep letting them, in practice. The reps are huge, and I think both of them, like I said, bring something to the table, and it's just a matter of what our team needs more to win. What's it going to take for our offense to be able to move the ball down the field, and what's the best combination with the rest of the guys that they have around them to put points on the board.
And Bell's healthy, just made a switch to program.
Yeah. It's just Reggie, I think did some really good things. I still think he's got as many tools in the toolbox when it comes to his skills as anyone we got in our program. It's just the experience factor. I think is something that with the leadership and things like that. It's good for Reggie just to take a little bit of a back seat here and kind of see now from a different perspective now that he's been out there. And we're all in on Reggie. He's going to be a dynamite quarterback in our program, sooner than later. And it's just a matter of him kind of seeing it from a different angle now that he's been in the heat of the moment and when the bullets are flying. And it's something we believe in him. He's an accurate passer. He's quick. He's elusive. And there's just a few things that we're going to work on with him, to take him to that next step.
With the missing some open receivers, Brogan and Rob missed high a couple of times. Did you get a sense that was an issue, just overthrowing him? Where did you get a sense some of those missed passes kind of came in, different times? Yeah,
it's just being comfortable, I think. Trusting your protection, which, was good for the most part. It's just, it's those reps with those guys that, that you work with in practice, and, rotating the quarterbacks in practice doesn't give them as many reps as we try to figure out, who the quarterback should be. So last week, they both split the 1s and 2s reps, both Brogan and Rob. So, we got to continue to evaluate that to make sure we're giving them the best chance for success on Saturdays, but also doing a good job of evaluating who our quarterback should be. So it's a tricky situation. I think we're getting closer on things, as we saw how the game developed and what type of offense we're going to have to be here this year based on our personnel.
Any thought to getting Bronson more responsibility, Hill? I know he led the kids to his team, but he's capable, obviously shown. You guys have kind of rotated a lot, but any kind of thoughts on giving him more kind of the bulk of the work, or you still like the rotation?
I think, the thing is we just need to find more ways to get them touches, maybe not just carries, but just touches in general. I was concerned, actually, I hadn't seen the stats I didn't think I was worried at the end of the game that he wasn't at 16. You know, that I was worried he might be more to like 11 or 12. And so it was a little bit of relief, and then I knew he had some touches catching the ball out of the backfield too, that we were getting him pretty much close to 20. I think, you know, you got some skills with the other guys too, Brummy and Darius Jackson, that we just need to continue to use more and more. You know, those are three of our more skilled guys. You know, and there's some other ones, Tyrese obviously, but those are three of our more skilled guys that we have on the football field. And so making sure we bring up those guys' workload and finding ways, and it's tricky when you got three running backs trying to get them all on the field, and we've continued to do that with DJ playing more in the slot, you know, and a little bit of fullback and just trying to move him around. He's grasped that well, but it's just a matter of, you know, continue to try to get all those guys, I think, more work.
Offensive line health, I know Wiley wasn't listed on the thing. Is he still out? Or is he out for sure, or questionable?
You know, it's a day-to-day eval.
What is he had? Is it just what was he out with?
I mean,
Yeah, it's a knee injury.
Knee injury. He's still banged up.
Yeah, it doesn't look good for this week.
And then Mike Spearman's still out for a while. I mean, is he out for the long haul here, or is it more coming?
We expect him to be back, but not this week.
Not this week. Any other injuries come out of Saturday?
I mean,
the guys that play.
No, the guy that's it.
Yeah, it's always a long list, but it's, you know, it's how severe, and so yeah, there wasn't anything significant.
Coach Creighton, I wanted to ask you that I've been around a number of Eastern Michigan head football coaches. It seems like you're doing things in a way I've never seen done around here, and you're wearing different hats, not just as a football coach, but you know, trying to rally students and all this kind of stuff. I want to know, what hats are you wearing around here, and what is your goals as far as not only making this a good football team, but make this a program that people are proud of or want to be a part of, or all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, no, it's a great question. I haven't been here long, but you know, just personally, I just really believe that this is where I'm supposed to be and where my family's supposed to be. And I believe in hiring the staff. You know, if you talk to our staff, it's we just believe that there's purpose, you know, in being here. That you know, a huge part of that is trying to make this program, you know, much better. But it's not just the on-the-field football. I think I love Eastern Michigan. You know, again, I've only been here for 9 months, but when you know you're supposed to be somewhere, and I had a lot to learn about this place, both the school in the area, the people who are associated with it. You know, I've gotten to know alumni, you know, both football and otherwise, and I just believe that this place, the football can be special here. You know, I believe that. And, you know, I've kind of gone through life. I mean, no matter who you are, where you are, what you represent, whatever school you go to, your family, you got to know who you are, and you've got to believe and be proud of who you are. And I just think that there's massive capacity for that. And I understand that, you know, that we haven't this year included, you know, on Saturdays, it's frustrating, you know, when you're not on top. I believe that we can change that. And we're committed to that. There's a lot of really good people. I haven't met them all or anything like that have tried. We're not special, you know, we're not miracle workers or anything like that, but I believe in the people here and the program and the coaching staff and the ability to make it better. Yeah.
You had talked about recruiting guys that not necessarily are seeking to be a part of a program that's already rolling. You could say the same thing about you. If you had waited because of your record, couldn't you probably could have gotten a job with a team that's more established. So are you one of those people that wants to be on the ground floor and make something, you know, that's not thought of as great as great?
Yeah, well, first of all, I wasn't waiting for anything while I was at Drake. I've never waited for another job. That's not, you know, and I'm being absolutely 100% sincere with you. You know, my wife and I had conversations about how we could be at Drake for the rest of our career, and you know, not trying to move on to something, you know, bigger or better. You know, we wanted to make where we were is a great experience as we possibly could, and absolutely loved it there. And so it wasn't about initially and personally, it wasn't about the state of the program. It was about, this is where we're supposed to be. Now, having said that, you only live once, and there's an awesome opportunity here, and we're not trying to be great, so that we're heralded as these great people and whatnot, but we all want to be a part of doing something great. You get to live once, and there's a big challenge, with taking the program that hasn't been successful and isn't looked at, in a great light in a lot of ways. To be a part of changing that is an incredible opportunity. And so absolutely embrace being in at the ground floor. And we say at the ground floor, I want to say, I didn't get to know the previous staff, very well or anything like that. But the guys that we're coaching right now are guys that they recruited and built into and whatnot. And I hope that they get, recognized in a positive way for what they did during their time here. And we want to just take it where it's at and do our best to make it better and to make it something that that people can be really proud of.
You said this is where you belong. When did you realize that, and why do you belong here?
Yeah, there's personal and professional reasons for that. I can just tell you that in the interview process, I think a lot of the times, with college football, things happen very quickly. You get a call out of the blue, and all of a sudden, the next day, you're on an interview, and the next day, they're saying, you've got an opportunity to do this, and, you're making a huge life decision that involves everybody in your current program, the players and coaches, everybody in the program that is looking for a coach, and then your immediate family and all of that, and you got to make a life decision in a matter of hours. Fortunately, for myself and our family and the people involved, we had a few weeks to really figure out whether this is something that we were supposed to do. And I always try to make this clear too. Just because we're supposed to do it, that's not saying that everything's going to be rosy and everything's going to be perfect and that we're going to be wildly successful. It just means this is where we're supposed to be. And there's conviction, there's power, there's belief when you know you are where you're supposed to be. And so we went through a process. My wife and I, and getting to know Eastern and the vision of the leadership here and the character of the people here, and then our own purpose in our life and where we were in our career, and whether we were feeling called to be here or not. And my wife and I got to the point where we knew that, probably before Eastern Michigan knew, that we felt as though that's what we were supposed to do. That's, I've got a journal, throughout those weeks, chronicling some of the decisions and things that transpired during that time where we just felt this is what we were, this was what we're going to be doing. So I don't know how, to explain it more than that.
Every coach I've talked to, no matter the sport, they have a foundation, a belief that they have, that they set and as groundwork for success. What is yours? Your foundation for success? And sometimes it doesn't have to mean in football, but just in life in general.
Awesome question. I guess one of the ways that I could answer that is through my coaching philosophy, and which is our coaching philosophy. And this isn't something, I was in a coaching class, as an undergrad, and they said write a philosophy, and so you write it and re-edit it and try to figure it out. This is something that came to me really the summer before I started coaching college football, and it was just an awareness of a truth, and that is that love is ultimately more powerful than hate, fear, negativity, or intimidation. I believe that to be a truth. I believe that hate, fear, negativity, and intimidation can be in a very effective way to coach, but I think ultimately that love is more powerful. And I just know that, at the end of the day, or at the end of a career, the end of my life, I know that, and I fail at this miserably, please understand, just because it's my philosophy doesn't mean that I get it right, but that when I'm done in all those different ways, if I have loved other people, then I've done it the way that I'm supposed to do it, and I believe that again that it's a powerful reality. And love doesn't mean if you're late that we're sitting here going it's okay. I mean, there's tough love in that. I think love means that you're fundamentally believing in people, and that I think positive reinforcement comes out obviously more so than negative reinforcement. So I could talk a lot on that question. I think it's a very good one, but I think that is sort of a core philosophy that I try to live by.
After Coach English was fired up here, I came up for a meeting in one of the campus buildings on there, and there was students and professors and everything. And the debate was, should Eastern Michigan continue to have football? And I want to know, in your mind, how does football benefit Eastern Michigan University? I was wondering if you can address that question and why the importance of having football here.
Well, it's another good question. I mean, I could start by answering that just in terms of I think that there's power in sports, and there's power in the game of football. When I say the word power, education first is the vision and the tagline of the university, and I believe that intercollegiate athletics are absolutely part of the educational experience and process, obviously for the student athletes, but it can incorporate even more than that. Education and academics are not one and the same. Education encompasses more than the academic piece. I think the academic piece is definitely the forefront. It's the driving force, but education incorporates more than the internships and the classroom work. And I believe that our football program is going to be a part of that educational experience for our guys. I think that whether it's right or wrong, and this is obviously up for much debate, but I think that athletics allows for the student body and the alumni to express themselves, their pride for the school. It's like I said earlier, you want to be proud of who you are and where you're from. If you're an Eastern Michigan undergrad or graduate student, you should be profoundly proud of the fact that you're at Eastern Michigan and that you're getting part of or all of your education from this place. And whether it's swimming and track and field, basketball, football, our marching band, our theater, all of that. I mean, those are all, opportunities to express, your pride. I mean, we're an outlet of pride for the school. And we want to become, a source of pride and joy for the school. I think that it's a way for alumni and the current student body to rally and to bind together, and to be a part of something bigger than themselves. So yeah, I mean, I think those are some of the quick thoughts off the top of my head. And I also believe that I don't think that you have to be, the conference champ every year for all of those things to happen. I really don't. Part of the experience is, you start every season, not knowing how it's going to go, and you want to climb in each season to achieve, your best potential. And so I get the fact that it's frustrating if it's, losing after losing after losing. But I guess, that's something for the school to think through too, is why do you have intercollegiate athletics? Is it to win every game? I think that's part of what you want to do. You want to be competing and you want to be great. But I think that intercollegiate athletics has so much to offer, both the student athletes and the people directly involved, but indirectly involved, despite the final outcome or result. I said earlier, I think you'll learn more about yourself and about your team sometimes from losing than you do, from winning. But I also believe it's going to be unbelievable when we get to that spot, where we are worthy of people being proud in terms of the box score and what's happening on Saturday afternoons. I think that it's if we do it the right way, if and doing it the right way so that people involved and not involved with the program look at the program, and we'll always be far from perfect, but to say that those guys are doing it the right way, that those guys are getting their education, they're going to class, education matters to them, they care about the community, they're not, high-profile guys that think that they own the place and whatnot, that they somehow are, walking, on higher ground than everybody else, but that they're grateful for the opportunity to represent Eastern and to get this education. They're giving back to the community, that they're playing hard and playing together, and that they're successful on Saturdays. That's something that's worthy for the Eastern Michigan, the Ypsilanti, the Southeastern Michigan community to get behind and be proud of. And I believe that's going to happen. And being 1-2 derails me about that much. And we put everything that we had into every week that we've been here. Off season and not winning hurts, but it's going to derail us, in 0% in our quest to make this program what we believe it can be.
One of the things is maybe sort of personal, but also sort of the subject of motivation. A few years ago, I did a behind-the-scenes thing on Eastern Michigan football. I spent the Friday night with them before they played Michigan in Ann Arbor. And the night before, the coaches try to motivate players, and they use a lot of profanity and things like that. Now, my understanding is you're not a big advocate of that. And I just want to know, can you motivate guys in a way where you're not using four-letter words? And is that your philosophy or not?
Yeah, I mean, that's gotten a lot of attention. That's not sort of my primary mantra in life, is no profanity. I don't want profanity used in our program. And again, we're far from perfect with that, but I don't think it's necessary. These are young men, and I think that we have a staff of people who can articulate themselves in a passionate and powerful way without using profanity, and without ever using it to demean or devalue guys. And we don't want our players to use it. I just think that, they want to be, having successful and productive jobs and men, husbands, fathers, and whatnot. I just don't think it's necessary. But it's probably a discipline thing, and a control and a toughness thing more than it is anything else. On the subject of motivation, I think I learned a long time ago that the way to motivate is to, in our case, recruit motivated people. It's very difficult to motivate people, but when you surround yourself with motivated people, it's a matter of saying, it's time, let's go. And those guys will run through or hammer through or whatever it takes, a concrete wall to go out and play. But if you have unmotivated people, you can sing and dance and juggle and whatnot, but it's very difficult to motivate people. So I think it's a matter of finding motivated people.
You sound like a guy that's not afraid of Eastern Michigan's history.
Not afraid of it. I understand it. I understand that many really good people and good coaches and well-intentioned, may not have been able to get, where they want to go. And there's no guarantee that we're gonna. But I'll tell you what, we believe that it can happen, and we're going at it without reservation, 100%. Absolutely believe it. And that, in my 9 months here. Part of me, there was first couple months I was waiting, for an elephant to come and sit in the room, and to say, okay, well, there it is. If it's history or tradition, if it's people's perceptions, those can be strong and powerful and need to be overcome, need to be changed. And that's not going to happen simply. I understand that. But there has not been an elephant that has jumped up into any of our rooms that makes me say, wow, this is not possible. Like, I didn't know that the elephant, that there was an elephant. And so, with our guys, I mean, shoot, we want to be 3-0 right now. I promise you that. But we've talked all along, the biggest thing that probably needs to change inward is just our ability to deal with, football adversity and things not going the way you want. And our guys are tough. I mean, I'm telling you, they are the real deal tough. When you get to know them and their lives and what they've already been through and endured and persevered in their short 18 to 22 years of life. And that's a matter of now of just understanding that that's a strength of our team and not something that we're, outcast or stones being thrown at with our guys. I mean, it's a source of strength, and we just need to bring that together and understand how that's such a positive and how that can bind our team together. And then, ultimately that's going to come out through football as well. And again, I mean, I was really proud of the fact that we had plenty of opportunities to hang our heads and to say, you know what, this has happened here for many moons and whatnot, and here it goes again. And, we've got leaders, running up and down our sidelines talking about, it's 2 scores and an onside kick, or 1 score and an onside kick, to get this thing tied up. And proud of them for that. And just believe in our guys and believe that that we can really be a part of something special.
Michigan State, just talk about how the schedule sets up with all the road games, and then 2 out of 3 Florida, Michigan State, kind of have the challenge of that, this stretch here for you guys.
This is absolutely no disrespect to Michigan State. I know that they're a great program. I mean, I said it earlier. I mean, you watch those guys on film, and they're big, strong, fast, physical, confident, disciplined, well-coached. I mean, they're awesome. But it's not who we play going into the season or right now that is of our concern, to be honest with you. And again, that's not meant with any disrespect. But we're not getting ready for Michigan State more than we did for Morgan State. We're not. I mean, it's impossible to. Or if it is, I mean, we're going to figure out how we can get ready for a game better, or more. We understand that a great program. It is our issues are with ourselves, and I think that's. I mean, if you talk to Coach D'Antonio, and I don't know him well by any means, but I don't know how concerned he is with whoever they're playing. I mean, it's always about making your team the absolute best it can be and figuring out your strengths, your weaknesses, what needs to improve, and making it better. This is an awesome opportunity for us. We want to win. And I'm going to challenge our guys this afternoon with, if in order for us to win, we have to play hard, we have to play together as a team, and we have to play for 60 minutes. And that's not a guarantee. And then you have to believe that we can win. And every one of us has to. The fewer there are that believe, the more energy it's going to take and the more success in the game it's going to take for the non-believers to become believers, right? I mean, so all of those things have to happen. And our goal on game day is to be at our best and to win. So I'm not dismissing that. But regardless of who we're playing, we've got to cover punts better. We've got to sustain drives and improve our passing game and get into the end zone. We can't give up big plays. We've got to finish tackles. We've got to create more turnovers. We've got to take care of the ball. We have to, on the sideline, continue to bring energy and to believe in each other and to make that, a cocoon in whatever environment we are where it's just brothers believing in and supporting in each other. And that's regardless of who we play.
Any difference between playing an in-state opponent like this? I mean, there's not in preparation, but just any feel for the game kind of now leading up to it, or, having that in-state. I mean, obviously you guys play Central Western in the conference, but, with Michigan State specifically, any kind of difference? Any feel with the players? You get a sense of that?
I mean, I think I'll know a lot more, after this week. I mean, I totally understand your question. We've got a significant amount of guys who are from Michigan, and so I think that there's definitely a heightened sense when you know guys on the other team. I mean, I don't know how many guys our guys knew from Old Dominion, So we don't want this game more than that game, but when you know people who are on the other team, I think that it gets the juices going, even more. I believe that we're going to get to a point where the people in eastern and southeastern Michigan, where we represent that part of the state, and we want to do it in a way that's going to make those folks proud. And I think Michigan State has done a great job of saying, hey, Michigan, we want to be your representative. And I think they've done things the right way, and it's been impressive. But so I don't know. I think for the three of us, we'll know a lot more, after going through the week.
You guys have watched a little bit of tape. What's the kind of thing that stands out, biggest concern with my last question for each of you?
Well, they're just a physical defense. They know who they are. They have an identity. You can see that over the years, the scheme has been, I'm sure it's been revamped and tweaked a little bit, but the guys know the system that they're a part of and can play it freely, and the people running the system fit the system. So, it's just it's certainly a challenge we're looking forward to, and again, like Coach Creighton said, we just got to make sure we're making progress as an offense and continue to address our weaknesses and play to our strengths.
Offensively, they're as impressive as everybody's been commenting on. They're a power football team. Up front, they're big and physical and strong. Not just physical, but you can see their strength, and they're balanced offense in terms of run and pass. I think the quarterback, is very efficient and makes good decisions, and runs the offense well. The first game of the season, he had one incomplete pass. Just does a really good job. I think makes them maybe a better passing football team than they were last year, to complement their run game. And then they'll do a lot of things with formations and moving people around. It'll be a completely different kind of game that way than last week. So that's a challenge for us.
Anything else for the coaches? Thank you.
Appreciate it, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks for coming.